Hi, my name is Kanal, and welcome to the Geeks of the Valley podcast, which connects with some of the brightest minds globally who are leading their respective industries today to discuss the hottest upcoming industry trends and how their work is affecting the global economy. What started off as a coffee chat has now grown into a global platform for visionaries. This morning from Singapore, we have the COO at Rainmaking APAC, Virginie Hello, joining us. Rainmaking, a global venture builder founded around 15 years ago in Denmark, has left an indelible mark in the startup ecosystem. Their impressive portfolio boasts over 55 ventures created, investments in nearly 1,000 startups, and strategic partnerships with over 100 leading corporations worldwide. Virginie's pivotal role ensures that each rainmaking venture is led by exceptional talent, surpassing expectations for both corporate partners and the customers who benefit from their value-driven ventures. Together, they strive to unite teams and build exceptional ventures rooted in the shared values of entrepreneurship, impact, and kindness. Get ready to unravel the secrets of rainmaking success and their recent acquisition by Bain & Company in this captivating conversation. Virginie, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Let's jump into the first question here, shall we?
Perfect. Let's go.
So can you explain the recent acquisition of Rainmaking by Bain and how this acquisition will impact Rainmaking's operations and strategies?
Yeah, Rainmaking, we've been building basically our company for the past 7 years here in APAC. We were backed by a Danish company originally that was doing venture building, has been doing venture building for a while. One of the key ventures that they built was Startup Bootcamp back in the days. And so we've been building that in the region and trying to find the customers and the right product market fit here in Singapore in the region. And so we've been growing our team, growing our operations, and really trying to finding more and more pace. And as we grew, we really felt like we needed to find, just like our venture, the right corporate and the right partner to actually help us scale and help us grow. And so that's when we started looking out for potential acquisitions. And then Bain was also interested in developing their own venture building capabilities because a lot of their clients were looking for strategic investments and how to actually grow their portfolio and grow their revenues. And so they looked into potential acquisitions too. And that's how we actually came to the conclusion that could be a great investment for us to work together. And so very much the intent of the acquisition is to help develop venture building and startup expansion throughout Asia. And we think that we can leverage on the asset that Bain, the amazing assets that Bain has, such as their corporate connectivity, as well as the knowledge that they have within industries, and take what we have, which is our entrepreneurial spirit, as well as our unique model, to help them also develop that capability and help serve more clients and build more impactful ventures. So that's what the thesis is around. How will it impact Rainmaking's operation strategy? Well, not much to some extent, in the sense that we remain independent. So we operate under a branded service line, which is its own separate entity. So what we hope to do is leverage, and Bain hopes to leverage on us also to help us scale and for us to also leverage on the great things that they have. But at the same time, we don't want to dilute or we don't want to change how we've been succeeding and growing in the market. So our operation strategy will remain the same. We'll just try to scale and move faster and evolve faster than we have ever been before, right? So that's the intent of the acquisition.
And given that your operations and strategies will remain the same, when it comes to this acquisition of Rainmaking by Bain, how does it, impact the venture development lifecycle process?
That's a good question. So I think one of the things that Bain is amazing at, what they've been also building with their practice, which is called Next in IND, is their ability to serve clients that have, I would say, strategic big bets. So they are corporates that really want to develop a business or a new venture that is, I would say, closer to their core, closer to what they already service and what they do, and which requires, I would say, the strength of expertise, a very detailed analysis of, for instance, a product or a market, etc. That's what Bain is really amazing at, because they have had their strategy practice as well as their IT practice for a long time and really are great at doing that. So I would say more of the traditional fee-driven type of work. Whereas us, Rainmaking, we've really developed a model where we can do capital efficient venture builds, which means that we can take equity together with corporate partners and share the skin in the game. And so what we do together is actually be able to service and do different types of venture and build different types of venture, help grow different types of venture that have very different needs. I think there is obviously different needs there is a need for both. It just depends on the context and which corporate partners you're talking about, as well as which startup you're trying to help, right? So it's very much trying to be able to do everything on the spectrum, early stage to later stage. And so one of the key thing I will say in terms of development life cycle is one of the key themes around Rainmaking is we hope to serve not just startups at the very early stage, but also scaling startups. So what we do is with our venture building arm, we do very ideation, getting them ready to launch and getting them started and scale, finding the founding team. But we also support existing startups that are between Series A and above, actually go in new markets, find their product market fit, or find new customers in different parts and different segments. And that's something that is also really valuable, I would say, to Bain, because they also have the desire to work with startups that are more at growth stage. And so that's something that we can do together.
And can you explain how Bain and Rainmaking have collaborated or plan to collaborate to build processes and intellectual property for startups that they work with?
I mean, it's an interesting one, right? Because I think it's very much in the culture and in the mindset. And I think that's something where Bain and Rainmaking actually are very much aligned, is always trying to push and evolve our thinking and always don't believe you're right, actually. You might have an hypothesis or first answer, as they call it within Bain, but we don't necessarily believe that we're right, and we aim to evolve that together. So that's something that we really even in the cities of the acquisition, for each side to learn from each other, understand the context and how can we improve our offering, but also how we develop and build processes and ventures better is really the core of why we want to work together. And so Bain has an extremely strong intellectual property and process to actually develop that. Whereas Rainmaking, we've always been more entrepreneurial, we run as fast as possible, not necessarily thinking how can we develop that IP and really making it a product. Although we've been thinking about it, we just not necessarily have the time to do it. And so actually we're really looking forward to leverage what Bain has built over the years, which is this institutional, I would say, muscle to really make your IP really productized, I guess, and also utilized. So right now, what it looks like, and we don't have the answer for the future, right? But what it looks like right now is we're trying to cross-pollinate across specific venture cases or even specific client cases where we're thinking, okay, what have we seen in our context that is similar? How can we actually help you, or how can we advise you, or how can we actually get some learnings to you to help you evolve how you're thinking and how you're developing that IP, and vice versa. And then over time, we're hoping to collaborate actually on projects and ventures and even helping startups together, scale together. But that's something that it will take time to actually build, and that's something we really hope to do in the future to develop that IP.
And with Bain taking over the APAC business of Rainmaking, what new growth opportunities do you anticipate for the team and the business under Bain's ownership, from your perspective?
For us, Rainmaking, and I'm only talking on behalf of Rainmaking, I think for us, very much the acquisition is for us to be able to grow faster and better than we've done until now, and help us unlock new opportunities, whether it's new geographical markets. So for instance, Australia, or for instance, India. We don't know exactly where yet, but depending on where the opportunities are and the demand is, we'll try to see if we can expand into those markets, but also expand the breadth of customers and the breadth of venture that we can actually build. I think one of the great things that Bain has is actually their understanding of certain corporates and certain industries where they're really strong in, and they can also open opportunities for us in those industries where it was harder for us to get into because we didn't necessarily have the connectivity nor the knowledge about that industry, and help us actually serve and explore new business models that we were not able to do. So that's where we hope for, at least for Rainmaking, that the growth will be. And so ultimately what it means for people is that we have more interesting projects, more interesting venture that they can be part of, portfolios of studios that they can actually build and have the opportunity to open new teams that they can lead, new markets that they can open, and also just building up a portfolio of ventures that they're actually super proud of and that will scale. And that's really very much like how we see that this will create opportunities for our team. On the Bain side, I mean, I can't speak for them, but I think for them it also is an opportunity for the people to learn a different way of approaching, and also thinking, maybe being exposed to the to the thinking of a challenger like us, which is quite, I think, would be different from what Bain is currently.
So Virginie, in what ways does the proposition and structure of Bain and Rainmaking differ from other venture studios like BCG and McKinsey Leap? And what advantages does this bring to the startups they support?
I think the main thing is that we help startups from idea to scale. We just don't stop at the very early stage ideation and building, which McKinsey or DV kind of do, although I would say they have a gap. Basically, they will they will build the early stage startups, they will ideate, they will validate, then they will start building like large digital products for the organizations that they work with, or they will serve I would say growth stage startups, which are pretty much not unicorn level, but like really, really large already, like Series C, E or more, etc. Whereas for us, we were trying to really bridge that spectrum life cycle for startups. So we will help corporates build ventures from idea to validation to very early stage, like pre-seed, seed, Series A and up, but we'll also support startups that are Series A, B, etc., expand into new markets or find their market fit in their domestic markets or with different target customers, etc. So very much we try to serve and we think there is a lot of value in serving the whole spectrum of venture development. Because the methodology you apply, although different, you learn a lot from helping Series A startups actually expand or actually find their market fit, and it informs what you do at validation. So there is a lot of continuous loop of learning from serving the whole spectrum. So that's where in one part where we believe our proposition differs from a BCG and a McKinsey Leap, which are a bit more traditional consultancy with serving larger customers. Another aspect where we differ from them is McKinsey, at least, and BCG. I'm not as familiar with the exact model. I think that's the case, but they are serving and they're building ventures for a fee, meaning the corporate partners pay them to find an idea and to scale this idea. So they're incentivized to make that project big, expensive, and long. I mean, that's a model of consultancies such as BCG and McKinsey, right? And what our incentives are at Rainmaking are actually to make the venture successful, which means taking skin in the game and having aligned incentives. So with our model, we're able to be more capital efficient, to actually do portfolios of bets, which means building multiple ventures, which we know, of course, some of them will fail, but that's the model of the same thing as a VC. But being able to use that money and those funds to develop different engines of growth and double down on the ones that we think will be successful. And by being co-investor with the corporates or with our partners, we actually align incentives and ensure that we're building the right venture for the right partner. And so that's what our bread and butter is for Rainmaking, as well as building the studios or the engines that actually help organizations develop and build those capabilities to build ventures. And Bain is bringing their more, I would say, experts like premium offering, which is very much like you have one venture that you really think you should invest in, something that's really like business critical to the organization, and we're going to help you build it, and it's going to be perfect, and it's going to be like informed by so much expertise from across the world, from great experts from the strategy that they've developed, etc. And or offering the two of us together actually is complementing each other, giving the opportunity for corporate partners and for startups to have the breadth of services that they would not get, for instance, at the BCG or at a McKinsey Leap, while leveraging on the part that they actually need the most, whether it's like deep expertise, strategic thinking, like very critical bets, or whether it's more having a portfolio, more capital efficient approach, and someone to help them design that or help them build those ventures. So that's how I would see the differentiation mainly happens. And then one piece that I didn't mention, very much what we aim to do and what we've been trying to build for the past few years at Rainmaking is having a team that's mainly made of entrepreneurs. And so really understand what it actually takes to build ventures and to scale them. People that have had the experience really like launching those type of startups. And that's so they're our partners that are working with us are not being served just by a entry level, although maybe very great entry level employee, but by someone who has like been a serial entrepreneur and has done that over and over again and learned lessons around that.
And speaking of your bread and butter, what are some key accomplishments of Rainmaking's team and the innovative business models they have developed that made them an attractive acquisition target for Bain?
I think to be fair, I will be completely honest. I think we have much more to prove and we have much more to build, and we are constantly thriving to build better, like fast, like bigger, more successful ventures, more innovative ventures. And that's something I don't think we will ever be. I mean, yeah, there is always more we can do, and I truly believe that's the case still. I think the part where we've been really like pushing, I would say the envelope compared to really trying to advance that thinking. Actually, the biggest innovation I think we've made is with a rainmaking model, and I will be very clear on what I mean by that. I think until now, like venture building or building startups has been mainly dominated by like the VC world, where the VC is investing into startups and startups are being built in the wild, and a lot of corporates and a lot of large companies haven't figured out how to build this capability and how to actually continuously like build engines of growth. And so what we're trying to do is our model is really disrupt and evolve what this means. How do we actually build startups, and how do we create the institution, the governance, and the processes, as well as a way, like a better way and more efficient way to build ventures and to make more successful bets over time in the venture that we built, and learning that. And so that's what I call business model innovation. So that's one where that we're trying to push the envelope. And so we've been really like working towards how do we develop that IP and how do we develop the thinking and learning around creating those engines and this governance around portfolios and how do you build ventures, right? So that's one part. Specifically on the ventures we build with corporates, I mean, there are many. I don't think any of them you'll be like, oh my God, this is amazing. I've never heard of that business model, because all business models are inspired or have basically like originated from another analog industries, and or you've seen some version of that. You've just innovated on the way you actually do things in the background, or difference in the pricing model. So nothing will be like, oh, this is something that I wish I had thought of, I would think. But we've done a fair share of ventures. For instance, in the energy sector, we've been like really building like our portfolio in trying to increase the adoption of renewable energies, as well as like push for net zero emission projects, etc. And that's because a lot of our partners were interested in doing that, but also because that's something that's very close to the values of the people that are part of the company. And so some of it involves actually like how do you give access to renewable energy in like lower income countries in Asia? How do you actually help with the adoption of distributed energy resources? How do we actually help with solar adoption? How do we go about financing, ESG financing? how do we make the cold chain like more efficient and waste more energy efficient, like all of those. So different business models and different ventures we've been working on and we've been working on over the past few years that help to solve those type of problems. We've done a few also in the agri space with smallholder farmers, real estates, digital products. So like there are a bunch of them that we've been working on, and obviously some of them have succeeded or are succeeding, at least from now what we were seeing, and some of them will fail. And that's just what ventures are about, right? Like it's like taking a risk and trying to test and learn what business models will be successful in the future. So that's very much where we are.
And looking ahead, how do you envision the partnership between Bain and Rainmaking evolving in the future? And what impact do you think it will have on the startup ecosystem?
Yeah, so the way I look at the partnership and how I envision Bain and Rainmaking actually working together in the future is I would hope it's highly collaborative and we actually are able to even like work together on some ventures and bring the best of both worlds and what Bain has developed over the years that has been proving to be super successful and what we've trying to push the boundaries. I would hope that we actually like work together to create some intellectual friction to push ourselves to be better and to push our ventures to be better even than what we've built so far. I really don't want us to be complacent about the model that we have or like what we've done so far, because this is just the beginning of what we could be doing and we still have a lot to learn or a lot to actually improve. And so it's how do we evolve our thinking or process, or governance that corporates can actually apply to build those ventures, and the teams, and how can we shape the teams and of entrepreneurs to really like set them up for success and help them grow ventures in the best way possible. So very much a collaborative effort, bringing the best of both worlds, but also like creating enough intellectual friction for us to become better as a whole. And that's really much how I envision it. And together, I think then we can help serve different startups at different stage of their life and really do it successfully and doing it so that want to have us as partners moving forward and throughout their whole life, right? So that's very much the objective. And how do you think it will have an impact on? How do I think it will have an impact on the startup ecosystem? I think it can be really beneficial. Like Bain is a global company that is like super well connected across the world, and I think like being able for startups to actually connect with some of the clients that Bain has or some of the partners that they've developed over the years, and also having access to their expertise or to like advisors that are from Bain would be like amazing for them, because they would learn so much and be able to be connected to potential clients, partners, distributors. And the same way applies for Bain's partners, like, and Bain corporate partners that they work with, like having access to startups in the world that they have never thought of or never have had access to, just because there is this partnership and we're able to put and match them together and are able to understand how they can like help each other with a strategic objective should be and could be very beneficial. And that's not just startups and corporate partners, it's also investors, PE, VC funds, etc., that want to help their portfolios or want to actually like support and be backing those type of initiatives. I think that could be really a game changer for the way that startups are being built now in Asia and in the world.
And to wrap up, I'll call with our last question for the day. When you look back at life, what piece of advice would you give to founders or aspiring entrepreneurs?
It's hard. I actually think like we've romanticized the idea of being a founder and being an entrepreneur to something that's a lifestyle to some extent. Yes, it is a lifestyle, but it's a very hard lifestyle if you're actually doing it. And if you're doing it with persistence and with hard work. And so I think like for entrepreneurs and founders that are going through the journey, I think like just so that they know they're not alone going through that, and actually like surround themselves with people that are like really creating that collaborative and intellectual friction. Collaborative environment and intellectual friction is really the most important. just like get support, I guess, like get coaches, get therapists, get friends, get family that, and talk to peer entrepreneurs that have gone through the same journey, because it can be super lonely, but it's also like really hard. But at the end of the day, it's also super rewarding. So if you're going to do it, like do it with the right support system, I guess.
And Virginie, for entrepreneurs or people who want to catch a cup of coffee with you or connect for a chat, what would be the best point of contact?
Oh my God, like not social media, I'm the worst. Do not contact me through LinkedIn. I never open it. But email, WhatsApp, if you have my number. Yeah, email, Slack, if you have Slack Connect. If you send me a message on LinkedIn, there is 0 chance I will answer because I never open it.
Virginie, thank you so much for joining us on Geeks of the Valley, and it was a pleasure having you with us this morning.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure talking to you and sharing a little bit more about our work at Rainmaking and our acquisition with Bain.